my name's Emma, and I'm a huge book nerd.
You're my library, always open for business, but you never show it. You're just sitting with it, but I know the score, and you're killing it.
So rather than doing a TBR this month, I am gonna do something a little bit different. The next books that I really should get to are like really long, big books, and I don't know that I am in the headspace to get to those books right now because once again, I'm feeling anxious. Yay! So instead, I decided to do a recommendations video for anxiety. So books that I find some comfort in or help in when I'm feeling anxious. These are entirely rereads because I find that rereading a book when I'm anxious is sometimes more helpful than picking up a new book. Although sometimes picking up a new book is good because then I get like really sucked into the world and I can be positively distracted for a while. To jump into the books that I would recommend if you're struggling with anxiety and want to turn to books for some help, I think poetry books are a great way to go, especially Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I haven't read her new poetry collection, so I can't speak to that, but there are just a lot of simple little poems in here that I find nice to think about. Your art is not about how many people like your work. Your art is about if your heart likes your work, if your soul likes your work. It's about how honest you are with yourself, and you must never trade honesty for reliability. To all young poets. I just think a lot of these in here are nice to reflect on, and some of them like make you feel like you're not alone, and some of them make you feel like your feelings are valid. So I think that that's a good place to turn with poetry because it can be pretty universal and anyone can relate to it, especially these like really short clipped poems like Rupi Kaur does. The next book that I feel like turning to when I'm anxious is Highly Illogical Behavior by John Corey Whaley. So this book is about a boy named Solomon who has agoraphobia, which means he's afraid of leaving his own house. It's basically he has like really crippling anxiety, like extremely crippling anxiety about leaving his house. The thing that I think makes this book really good to turn to when you're anxious is that not only is it relatable, but it's not depressing. Like it takes place in the summer, so everything feels really like light and bright, and it's about how he like overcomes this crippling phobia that he has rather than like him falling into this like pit of despair. And it's really heartwarming, and I think because it's a YA and it's like really short, I think it's a really great book to turn to be able to relate, but then to also feel comfort. The next book I'd say is pretty good for anxiety is The Little Book of Hygge, Danish Secrets to Happy Living by Mike Wiking. And this is basically a little non-fiction book about hygge, which is the Danish, it's sort of like being cozy, but not quite. It's like a whole lifestyle thing. I don't know how to explain it to you, but when I was reading this book, I felt super comforted and like I was wrapped in a warm blanket, which is sometimes exactly what you need when anxiety is like knocking at your door. So yeah, if you haven't read this yet and you're feeling anxious, this might be a really great place to turn, especially because hygge is all about like comfortable happiness and like surrounding yourself with the simple things that bring you joy. Next up, we have a memoir, and that is Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. And I think that this might be like the best book to read when you're feeling anxious because it's hilarious, yet Jenny is also a sufferer of anxiety and also depression. And so she writes about these things in a really real way, but then also like laughs at herself for like these situations. And I just think that this is a really great place to turn when you're feeling anxious. I actually think I might start reading this after I film this video. And the last book that I am going to show is Harry Potter. Any and all of them. I just pulled this one up specifically. This is the second illustrated edition, The Chamber of Secrets, and I'm pulling this up specifically because I have read the first illustrated edition, The Sorcerer's Stone, but I have not read the illustrated edition of Chamber of Secrets, so if I were to do a reread of Harry Potter to make me feel less anxious, it'd probably be this one. Harry Potter is just like always, I love that like Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home thing, and it just makes me feel, at home basically. Very comfortable with these books. If you are also dealing with anxiety, just know that you're not the only person who's dealing with it, and it can be really scary, and panic attacks are absolutely no fun, especially if you're trying to fall asleep when you have a panic attack. The bookish community is a really great place to go when you are feeling anxious. I've learned that this year. That opening up and talking about it to all these amazing bookish people out there is a really, really great thing to do, because they make you feel loved and not alone. I'm like getting a little bit emotional. Who am I? If you are feeling anxious, I really encourage you to reach out to the bookish community, because we're pretty cool and we're really here for each other, which is kind of unusual of an online community, I think. And if you're feeling anxious right now, as you're watching this video, let me know down in the comments and I will respond to you and I will talk to you about what it feels like to be anxious, because we are in it together, man. Keep smiling. The sun is shining right now. It gets worse when it's dark outside. But for now, the sun is shining, the day is beautiful, and we can get through things. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that this has given you some ideas of books to turn to when you might be feeling not the best. So please like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know how you're doing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Mwah.